Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Today, we have the full squad here today. Chris is finally back, and we're going to give you all the latest sports news. We have a lot of updates coming from the NBA bubble, just like I said we would yesterday at the end of our show. But before we do all that, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends. Now, here is the Fumble squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @Devin_Howard. Chris.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's Shakira. You can find me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Hey guys, it's your girl Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. Chris, you came back and you came prepared. I'm so happy you said your name right after Devin's name. Look at this. I love it.
You guys are going to find out in Weekend Zone. I got it out of the way in Weekend Zone. That's why I messed myself up in that one.
Well, that was really great, Chris. You did a good job with your intro. I guess
it only took 4 months.
Right.
Yeah. I know, right? Seriously. Oh, boy.
How was your 2 days off, Chris? Good?
Yeah, everything's okay. Everything is good. Everybody is okay. So, yes, everything, it was good. It was good.
Oh, okay.
You know, Chris, I joked a couple of days ago that you took the day off because I actually found out it was National Video Game Day on Wednesday.
I wish that was, I wish that's what it was.
National Video Game Day.
No comment. That's not true. No, I wish.
After Britt,
we didn't do the Brits takes. We got fired.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the only part of the show I actually missed you, Chris, because they tried it. It was an epic fail. I was like, okay, maybe I do. Maybe come back. Maybe missed the sound effects for sure.
Wow, noted that pressure. Okay, all right, I'll bring it back.
Okay. All right. Well, Chris, get ready because I'm going to jump into need to know news. So we're going to need all the voices, all the sound effects. So just get ready for that. Let's start off by talking about Kendrick Perkins. So it seems that he's discovered a new favorite, not even a new favorite. His favorite quarantine activity is apparently stirring the pot. So earlier this week, I told you how Joel Embiid revealed that he really hated the idea of the bubble. He didn't think that it was going to be safe. He just voiced a number of concerns about, how really safe it can be. But he also said that he didn't want to abandon his teammates at the end of the season, so he's going to the bubble and he's going to play. And I get his concerns completely, and he's not letting it hold him back. He's still showing up for the Sixers. But on Wednesday night, Kendrick Perkins criticized Joel for his comments. He said that he thinks that Joel was just making an excuse. He didn't really address any of Joel's real concerns that I feel are actually totally valid, and he just kind of dragged him. So Joel caught wind of the shots that Kendrick fired, so he took to his Twitter to like a tweet that said "Prime Kendrick Perkins" and showed a bunch of clips of him airballing jumpers, among other lowlights. So here we go with this video here, just so you can see what Joel liked. So yeah, he was obviously, throwing his own shots, being a little shady by doing that. But you know what? He just got dragged on TV, so I don't blame him for wanting to like this tweet. But then Kendrick felt the need to reply to that tweet with a video showing some of his best moments, which to me, it's like, come on, did you have that stored away somewhere on your computer? Did you have it bookmarked on your Safari web browser? Because you just pulled that out right away and just retweeted that video, which I thought was kind of funny and kind of silly, a little bit awkward and a little unnecessary. But the drama doesn't even stop there. Joel was photographed arriving oh wait, there's actually more there. Okay, wait, no, we have another video to show. Sorry guys, I got a little bit distracted. So Joel was photographed arriving to his plane to the bubble wearing a hazmat suit, and KP tweeted this, which says, seriously, if he feels this way about going to the bubble, he should have just opted out. No one would have looked at him differently. And then he quickly deleted that and sent out another tweet that said, do your thing, big fella. So he clearly was trying to send something negative, deleted it, posted something else. I don't know. There's just a lot of drama going on right there. So Chris, going to you first, does Joel deserve the dragging, or do you think he's totally valid in his concerns?
I don't know. I don't think he deserves the dragging, but at the same time, I don't have a problem with it. At this point, I think that's just Kendrick being Kendrick. So I don't really have an issue with it. He had his opinion on it, and I mean, Kendrick is not wrong. If he felt that way, then he could have sat out. But I think, like he said, he's doing it for his teammates, and that's the whole brotherhood of the NBA. But I don't want to say he doesn't deserve the dragging, because that's just, I feel like that's a part of the game, and we've learned that that's just how Kendrick Perkins has been throughout this entire quarantine. So it was I didn't think it was anything out of pocket. I do, like you said, I think it was hilarious how this man in his back pocket had a reverse card from Uno ready to go with his highlight reel that I'm sure was very hard to put together. So I had no problem with it. But yeah, it's good old fashioned big man talk, I guess. I don't know.
So funny. Jackie, I feel like you're having some issues over there, Jackie. Is everything okay? Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, I lost sound for like 2 seconds. I was like, what the hell? I had no sound. You guys were all like, I don't hear anything. No, I'm good now. Okay, stop.
Were you able to hear the story? You heard the story, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, so why do you think Kendrick is just so into stirring the pot lately and like calling out all these NBA players?
Because he has nothing else to do. Like the people we try to talk about on the Weekend Zone, like they try so hard to clap at us, but it's really sad and pathetic because there's nothing else to do. So, and Kendrick likes to troll anyway, and then he's right now is just like, okay, and let me increase that because I'm Kendrick. That's what I do. So, yeah.
It's funny because I feel like what Joel said was pretty benign. I mean, he was just saying, I feel a little bit concerned. I don't feel totally comfortable with it, which, like, fine. If you feel that way, that's totally valid. So I felt like Kendrick coming at him so hard was kind of weird. Britt, do you feel like Joel said such a bad thing? Do you think he deserved the dragging?
I think the only thing he deserves to be dragged for is that hazmat suit, because I don't know if y'all saw it. It was like 3 sizes too small. It was like right under his elbow, like it was short. He had like a wedgie up his booty, like it was bad.
Yeah, so the joke didn't land.
It didn't even fit him properly. So that's the only thing that he needs to be dragged for is the size of that suit. Like y'all should have taped
special order
and made one.
Yeah, you have to special order a hazmat suit that was big enough for him. That's not on the shelf.
No, for sure.
I will say the hazmat suit
so funny because the booty part was all like up his he legit had like a real wedgie. Like it was so funny.
It was really funny.
Oh boy.
The hazmat suit was a little bit extra, but like that's what makes him feel safe. More power to him. Okay, let's move on. So we need to talk about Patrick Mahomes because on First Take, they had a whole conversation about whether or not Patrick Mahomes was the best player in all of sports, which I think is just a ridiculous conversation to have to begin with. But basically, Max Kellerman thinks that Pat is the best in all sports. So obviously we talked about how he just signed a mega 10-year extension worth around $450 million, making him the highest paid athlete in sports. And a lot of people do consider him to be the best player in the NFL. And now they're debating whether or not he's just the best of all time, of every sport ever. So Max made the case for the quarterback being the best player on First Take. So I have a clip that I'm just going to play for you right now. So Leo, when you're ready, if you can throw that up there for us.
If I ask you or anyone who follows football, who do you want to start a franchise? Every single person is going to take Patrick Mahomes. If I asked a separate question, who do you want to start? You get one player to win the Super Bowl this year. Every single person is taking Patrick Mahomes. Max, it will be unanimous, both going forward and right now. It won't be unanimous with LeBron.
What?
So,
what the? Why does it always have to be LeBron as your go-to when you're trying to talk crap? I don't understand this. What?
Jackie, I knew you would have a reaction to that. Okay, so obviously the argument that he's making is that people would vote unanimously to have Pat start a franchise, but the same cannot be said for the NBA and LeBron James, and that means that Pat is the best player of all sports. I think personally it's an unfair comparison because you're talking about one guy who's pretty much at the start of his career and another guy who's nearing the end. So they're not really even on the same level here. But I also think that he is correct in believing that the majority of people would say that Pat is the best athlete in the NFL, whereas the best of the present day NBA is still up for debate. I obviously think it's LeBron James, but we're going to have people who say it's Giannis. We're going to have people say it's Steph. People are always going to be debating about it. But maybe for the NFL, I guess the agreement is that Pat really sits pretty close to the top for almost everyone. Okay, so Jackie, I'm going to go to you first. Just tell me how you feel about this LeBron comparison. Is that unfair?
I mean, look, I'm glad Max is not sitting right next to me right now because we would have to turn the cameras off. Because why? I just don't understand why you always got to go there. But I will say this. The fact that LeBron is always everyone's go-to when they want to talk trash just shows you the power of who he is as a person. Because if he wasn't all that, you wouldn't be talking about him. So kick rocks, Max Kellerman. It's LeBron James hands down. And on top of that, if you're going to be the best in all sports, you need to be able to play all sports. And last time I checked, we know LeBron can play football. Patrick Mahomes can't play basketball. So miss me with all of that. No, he can't play like LeBron. No, he can't.
But he got in trouble and he's not allowed to play basketball anymore. So he can't play basketball.
Wait, you're saying LeBron can play football like Pat?
No, I'm saying that he could play football, period. He wouldn't even play the same position. So, no, he can't play like Pat. Okay. No. Okay. See, I'm not saying the craziness. You're assuming I'm saying craziness because the topic is crazy.
That is a great point. If you're going to be talking about the best player of all sports, then that player should be able to play all sports. You've got golf, you've got tennis, you've got so many different, even I think they consider marble racing a sport. So you got to be at least good at all. I'm sorry,
did you say marble as in marbles? Marble racing is a sport?
Hey, have you not been watching those marble races during this quarantine? Stop it.
I have
they're
not.
Entertaining. Oh, come on. It's entertaining.
Britt, do you agree with Max here? Is Pat the best player in all sports?
No, and I think he is a player, obviously, but I don't even think he's the most athletic football player. Not even close. So in that even spectrum of being athletic and being able to cover multitude of sports, he's not even that guy to me. He's good as a quarterback, but I don't think he's the most athletic football player there is. They're way more athletic. I think even Lamar Jackson is more athletic than Patrick Mahomes is. I think tons of other players are more athletic than Patrick Mahomes. So to say he's now the greatest athlete in the world is kind of crazy because he's not even the best athlete on a football field. So no, I don't agree with him at all. I think that was he tried it, but it was an epic fail. I don't think most people agree with him in that statement at all. I think it's ridiculous. Jackie's right. It's a crazy topic.
Yeah, I think that was my thought too. When I saw this headline, I was like, why are they even talking about this? What is the point? Chris, just really quickly, are you with Britt or do you feel that Pat's skill level and his talent is just unparalleled?
This is just a stupid conversation. To me, this is just Max Kellerman is going Max Kellerman. That's what's happening right now. Because he's great. And, everything he had to say about him on the football field, sure, fine. But, yeah, like Britt just said, I don't even know if I can say he is the best athlete in football. Is he probably one of the more talented, best talent? Sure, but I don't know if I can say that. And you got to have that to be able to then say that he's the greatest athlete in all sports. So this is just a Max Kellerman, just going Max Kellerman situation for me. So I don't know. This is one of those things you just let him talk. And you just look at him like,
He could have broke it down because Patrick Mahomes is has the number one. He's number one in merchandise sales. He's very non-polarizing. People don't have a strong feeling about him one way or another, except for they like that he plays football. So if you're going to say that, if you can say, hey, if you want a guy that'll just kind of go in your franchise and not make any waves, he's the best guy because he's not going to say or do anything.
Even then, I don't know if I'm taking that. I don't know.
No, he seems kind of just vanilla in his like he's not gonna rock the boat. He's just gonna
To even that, he said stuff on both sides of the fence for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody said anything. Nobody was like, wait, didn't you just switch to what you said before? Like, everybody forgot the first thing he said, and now, he's doing a video now, so now he's like, Black Lives Matter, but he wasn't at the beginning, and nobody said anything about it. Like, it literally just was swept under the rug because he just like, I'm just going to jump in this conversation. I'm just going to jump over here. And so the other people remember him for saying the other stuff, so they're like, yeah, we like him, he's with us. Right. And then everybody else remembers him from doing the Black Lives Matter video, so they're like, oh, we like him, he's with us. And he's literally he's like Steph Curry of the NFL, and in a way that he's just like a face and the good old boy that everybody likes, and he's nice, and he's there's not many things you don't like about him except for the girl, which people feel like the same thing about Patrick Mahomes' girl. Like that's the only issue people have is their girlfriends or their wives.
You are very right, Britt. I didn't even think about that.
Poor Aisha, we just got a jab at her, and she ain't even a topic today. Poor girl.
Yeah, I know. And I was trying to compare because really people don't like Patrick Mahomes' girl either. So
right.
Jackie the other day was calling for like, when are we getting the upgrade?
I know.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right. Obviously, we're all in agreement that this whole conversation was ridiculous. So let's just move on from it now. I have no more news left in Need to Know News. So, Chris, we have missed the post up. So give us all the news of social.
Buckle up, because it's time for Post Up with your boy Chris, quarantine/bubble edition. We have some updates on the bubble. This, outside of just basketball alone, this is what I was excited for. All of the shenanigans behind the scenes. There's even a Twitter account right now that is literally named NBA Bubble Updates. I have never hit follow on an account so fast, and I'm on that, and they are already uploading everybody's IG because it's been hilarity, and we're going to break down some of the craziness because everybody is – well, not everybody, but all the teams are officially in Orlando now with signs of a few players like, Harden and Westbrook and so and so and so. But, all the teams are there, so now everyone is getting acquainted to their rooms and their situations, and we're going to break down some of their updates from their videos that they've been posting, starting with my boy, Earl, J.R. Smith, the new Laker himself. He's even getting in trouble from the NBA and IG for showing too much at this point. But there was a point where he was showing a video and talking about the menu. But this video that he posted, where it was like all like a bunch of groundhogs, like all the Lakers team, like everyone poking their head out, looking at their food, and it's just all of them reacting to the food that they were getting. So this is the first video. This was posted by J.R. Smith.
Award. What's up? Award. You know what I'm saying? Look at my homie. Look at the homie. Look at the game. Hey, Q.
Watch all the heads come out. Watch over.
Hey, bro. Look at the game, bro. We out here. You know what I'm saying? Sack lunches and shit. Hey, DJ Spot Star all over again.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Like a bunch of kids, man. That was hilarious. Just all like, of course, JR, the new Laker, coming in making all this noise, like, oh yeah, my food's here, yeah. Then KCP and everybody like, what we talking about? Oh, the food's here. Yes, I think that was great. Look, you don't understand. I'm excited about just NBA being back, but this is a huge part of that. But moving on from that one, like we mentioned earlier, Joel Embiid had some opinions on this bubble. He had a very fun outfit to wear when he was arriving to the bubble, but then his post that I really enjoyed was, and here's the thing, like I didn't take it to be anything bad. I thought it was a very good statement, saying he's definitely going to be losing 50 pounds by looking at the food and looking like it's it's a healthy spread. So I don't know if he's upset about it or if that's a good thing, but it don't look bad compared to some other pictures I've been seeing. It definitely still looks like a bunch of airplane food. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, it looked bad, but it looked like, when you on the airplane, they hand you a little box, you open it, and, you got little servings. But, I mean, Joel Embiid is saying that he's ready to lose that, or not ready. He's going to be losing pounds in his bubble, and maybe maybe that was the plan by the Sixers the whole time, Joel. Who knows? But next update, we got Terrence Ross, who is out here dropping video of the lounge area that we were talking about, where it would be a limited space for only a certain amount of players that can go through. Yeah, you can play, just we don't need the sound. But yeah, players can go through and go in there. Obviously, you can't do like doubles in ping pong and table tennis, blah blah blah. And I think the limit was 10. I don't quote me on that, but obviously this is the lounge area for the players that they can go and chill in between games and in between workouts and whatnot. Yeah, the views are fine. The whole thing is dope. They got arcade machines. They got the old school for the old heads. They got the system set up for the little kids. Little kids. But you know what I mean, like
they were little kids,
like Luca and them. My bad, ain't little kids, but you know what I mean, the younger players. But yeah, so it looks dope. I think that's fire. And nice little sneak peek of that, and I think it's pretty cool. It looks like their setup is okay. So thanks to Terrence Ross. I'm trying to remember what team Terrence Ross is on. I think he's on the Magic. God, that boy all over the place. But anyways, dope showing for that. Moving on. This one was before they even got to the bubble. On the way to the bubble, the Blazers were majority of the Blazers were traveling together on their plane coming over. But Gary Trent Jr. was having himself a little bit of a photo shoot in the bathroom. I don't know if he was just feeling his fit. I don't know what was going on, but he was in the bathroom just taking these pictures, right? Looking and feeling himself. First of all, shout out to the timer. Good timer game going on with this phone, because I don't know who taking that picture in the bathroom, but he's doing that right there, pose right there. He's feeling himself. Going to zip it all the way up in this next picture right here. If you can see that, look at him. He's on the counter or whatnot. He's feeling himself. Now, really? As you know, he's on the Blazers, and he has two very known teammates that are going to go at him because he's still one of the younger players on the team. So, of course, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum had to go after him. They both responded to his pictures. Damian Lillard saying, "Bruh, this is why I had to wait to use the damn bathroom." And then CJ McCollum saying, "Bruh, something is wrong with you," with a bunch of laughing emojis. But, hey, Gary Trent Jr. just making the most of the situation. Go ahead, kid. But it's weird. On that note, I think this is probably one of my favorite setups. Probably going to be yours too, Britt. But it's coming from Patrick Beverley. Now, this man, people packing their clothes, packing their gaming systems. So, look, my man did the same. He got his clothes, he got his gaming system. But my man out here bringing rugs, bringing the sage. He's bringing like the ambiance to his room. So he's throwing up the whole entire room. If we can get that video coming up.
Bubbles, look at him.
That's right, Bubbles. What you make? Go ahead.
Got a little setup here. Yeah, got
the view.
Sage going over here. Got a nice little view here. Yeah, man. Electronic system here. Okay.
More games. Snack. Here it comes. Watch the side hustle right here. Watch it. Wow. This man in between games, I'm convinced he is going to be slinging white tees between games. Because look, I understand. Like, I know at the fresher they are, the better they look. I get that, but that man he got that thing almost to the top of the closet. So I'm convinced that he's gonna be going through like, yo, JR, I know you like to be shirtless, but I got some white tees for you, my guy. So we know, Patrick Beverley way to go. But his setup was dope. I liked his setup. Moving on to last. This was probably one of my favorite things. I think it's just so cool because they had to go extra to do this, and I'm glad they did because it came out dope. The Toronto Raptors, they arrived in style. Now, of course, obviously, coming from Canada, they got to fly down and whatnot. But the thing is, they have buses ready to go, and these weren't just any other buses. We saw them working out in their shirts that had Black Lives Matter in the Toronto Raptors font, but they had buses ready to go with the same sentiment, and they looked dope. They came in there like Stompy or like all them came in their buses like, we here, let's go Toronto, like with their Black Lives Matter bus, and I think it's dope. And on the back with the NBA champions on the back, let them gotta remind them, you know what I'm saying? So I loved everything about this. I thought it was a dope message on top of just them out there being fly. So go ahead, Raptors, with that one. I think that was a cool update there. But we're gonna have all the bubble updates that we can every time we get them. We will be sure to share them with you guys. I'm excited about them. I'm sure you guys are excited about them in the comments as well. Now, moving off from teams that are competing in the bubble to a player who normally around this time of year would be competing, but he's not. Steph Curry, so he's not going to be playing much basketball here unless they have that second bubble in Chicago. But even then, I'm sure he won't be participating with his words because, yeah. But while everyone else is playing basketball and competing for championships, he's out here playing some golf. But in between the golf, for whatever reason, he thinks just because he's such a good one-on-one player on the court that maybe he could be a good one-on-one shadow boxer with, I don't know, one of the greatest boxers of our time right now, Canelo. But hey, let's see how that goes. Steph Curry, let's see your little shadow boxing match with Canelo. The realization is my favorite part.
Oh my!
See, no protect. Look, see, if that was real, Warriors would have been out of a point guard because that was it. That was it. Like, I love the realization. Like, I could have been dead. But yeah, look, first of all, I didn't realize Canelo was that short. But yeah, Steph, let me tell you, I'm glad you're golfing and stuff like that. But look, man, this was not. Don't do this. Don't do this, man. It's your life. I bet you saw his whole life flash before his eyes. Like, I felt it. Look at that. He didn't even have a fist or anything. That's still scary as hell to see. But anyways, it's pretty dope to see that. Moving on to some NFL news. Jarvis Landry is trying to get somebody who we've talked about a few times. That's a pretty big figure in the sport of football. Jarvis Landry is trying to get him to speak out. Now, I don't think I need to give you many guesses to, for you guys to know who I'm talking about. I mean, he's a pretty big player. He actually just moved recently. He hasn't really said much. What's that? Yeah, Tom Brady. Tom Brady. We know when it comes to anything NFL, whether it is it has to do with them making their changes, with them trying to right their wrongs with the racial equality right now, or there are changes on the field that are still just as whack. We've heard a lot of players speaking out on a lot of the changes and doing stuff that we have not seen in recent time at all in the NFL, because a lot of players normally will let it go, but now these players are speaking up. But one person whose voice could definitely be important in times like this, especially with what is going on right now with this movement, to have one of the lead athletes at least come out and speak your truth could be nice. But I think we all might know why he has not spoke out on anything, especially when a certain other quarterback said something and it wasn't the right thing to say. So maybe he's holding his breath and biting his tongue a little bit. But Jarvis Landry is still challenging Tom Brady to come out and say something. He tweeted this out saying, "Tom Brady, the league needs your voice right now. We need our leaders on these calls with the NFL. Ask you as a fellow athlete, as a brother, as one of the most respected players of all time. We need to hear you. Salute, hashtag unity." Now, like I said, I think there's a good reason why he is not saying anything, but I want to push this to you first, Jackie. This is nice. Good gesture from Jarvis, somebody trying to keep him accountable. I think actually I prefer it, because now if he doesn't respond, even though we don't need a response from him, but now when he doesn't respond, it makes it look even more like, okay, yes, you confirmed why we know why you said anything. But all that being said, do you think Tom Brady needs to say something? Are you agreeing with Jarvis Landry on this?
Tom Brady should absolutely not say anything. Tom Brady has no dog in this race. He does not give a damn about this movement. He is besties with 45. If he says something now, it'll be a bold-faced lie. Don't say anything, Tom Brady. None of us are going to believe it anyway. No. Brad,
I'm coming to you real quick. So we've come in here and we've said our piece about Drew Brees and his opinions on his lack of answer when he was asked a question on what is going on right now. Do you believe that, just pretty much piggybacking off of what Jackie just said, do you truly believe that the reason why he has not said anything is because his sentiment would be very similar to something like what Drew Brees had to say?
Yeah, and we just talked about it yesterday about Tom Brady's company receiving like $1 million for being like a small business that was given to him by Trump's administration. So of course he's not going to say anything, and I don't want to hear him say anything. And Jarvis Landry, stop trying to like smooge up to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady is not one of the most respected guys in the league, because everybody knows he's cheated multiple times. Like, I don't know any players that actually like, yeah, okay, cool, like Tom Brady has all these rings or whatever, but everybody knows asterisks him, and everybody knows he cheats. So people actually don't respect Tom Brady, because Tom Brady don't say anything ever. Like, he never has a voice, and people don't respect him. Jarvis, like, say less, my guy. Like, maybe
giving Jarvis credit.
Ask him, but don't even act like you respect him, and he's one of the most respected players in the league.
Right. Because he's not, yeah. But here's my thing. Maybe I'm giving Jarvis too much credit. But you don't think that possibly Jarvis Landry is doing this to kind of bring the attention to the fact that Tom Brady is not saying anything, so he can get dragged a little bit the same way some of these other players who have said the wrong things?
I don't know. I would have thought that.
You know what I mean?
Didn't say the part. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I feel like maybe really trying to get to say. And then he was like, "Oh, be on these calls or whatever, like with the league." Like, so I don't even know if he's really trying to say something out in public or just get on the phone calls and stuff. But I mean, he probably is to a point, because that's what people do. Like, "Oh, hey, buddy, haven't you said anything?"
Right.
You know, you're going to call out people just as a little bit of shade because we know you haven't said anything. We know what his true feelings are.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right with the little bit of, just the coddling at the end, like you're well respected, stuff like that. Yeah, that kind of deflates that argument for me. But I don't know. We'll see. I still feel like the fact that it is pointing some attention to it, and we'll see what happens with that afterwards. But yeah, I wholeheartedly expect some kind of fake response to come over the weekend, but we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to some inside the NBA. Another thing I'm excited to be coming back with the NBA solely on its way back is we will be seeing some inside the NBA on TNT. Last night was they were bringing it back slowly. So they were talking about, what's to come. Cause like I said, all the teams are officially in Orlando for the bubble, for the restart of the season. And off the jump, we already got Charles versus Shaq round 5,045, because Charles Barkley was talking about his top 10 players all time, and a certain co-worker was left off that list, and Shaq threatened his life. Here's that clip.
But Chuck, you know what? I miss you and all, but I ain't gonna argue with you. You got two options. When you get back here, you face this, or you take all your clothes off and you jump in that damn lake, river, ocean, whatever it is, and you hold your breath for 30 minutes. Lake Tahoe. But when I see you, I'm putting these hands on you. I'm not in your top 10. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, to hold his breath for 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm excited to have like all the little, just have a little bit of something, some sort of normalcy when basketball comes back. But yeah, that was a funny moment for them yesterday. And
over there on a whole vacation.
Right.
I'm saying, like, he's taking advantage. He's like, he's like, oh, I can call in, so I can be wherever I am. Okay, cool, thank you. And he's just out there, just letting it show. Yeah, waves going, good looking, a little bit of a tan. Come on, Chuck. Last but not least, now look, I'm one of those people that, these athletes that think that they're just because they hang out with like rappers and artists, like because they hang out with athletes, they feel like, they one of the athletes, they think they got it too. So I'm very critical on a lot of these athletes that think that they can play a sport, but they really aren't that good, with the exceptions of like the Quavos, the J. Coles, and so on and so forth. But Blueface surprised me. I don't listen to his music very much, but when I saw him and just hearing him talk, I just didn't think he was much of an athlete. But let me tell you something. He went out and he was working out with OBJ and Cam Newton when they were out in LA. And look, he was out here replicating the OBJ catch freeze frame. Doubt he caught it. I don't think he actually caught it in real life. But this throw right here was on point. This throw was on point, and it went far. And everyone was like, whoa, oh my gosh, in the video. And that was my reaction too when I saw it. I'm like, oh, whoa, he got a bit of an arm on him. Not to say that if it was actual game setting, like he actually has accuracy and stuff like that, but for the fact that what I'm seeing right here is impressive, because like I said, I didn't take him to be an athlete. So go ahead, Blueface, get yours, man. But yeah, I 100% don't think that he caught that in the first one. If we can get that one more time. Leo, can we play that one more time? Because look at his fingertips. Look at the fingertips. Look at this. Look at this. One more time, Leo, the very beginning. One more time. Look at this. Look at this. No way he caught this. No way he caught this. Look at this. Hey, no, he caught that. That thing slipped right out of his hands. Who does he think he is? No, not buying that. But anyways, good freeze frame too, Leo. Look at that. Look at that. But it's a nice picture, though, and it proved this point. But anyways, that's enough for me and my haterade over here on Blueface. But I'm done here, and I'm done my post up.
Oh, Chris, apparently, according to the chat, Jason said Blueface was actually a quarterback in college.
See, okay, that makes sense.
I thought he was.
I didn't know that.
18 years old.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
If he went to college, I really need his raps to start getting better, because I didn't realize he went to college from listening to his raps. That's disappointing.
I think we're gonna have to fast check this. I don't know, Jason. I wasn't gonna say it, but
I mean, I believe it. Go ahead.
And I thought he was young. I thought he was like a kid. Isn't he like a kid?
Yeah, he's young.
Clearly, we don't know anything about that.
Well, all I'm saying is you can defend the quarterback and part all you want. You can't convince me he caught that ball. That's all I'm saying.
Right, I'm looking him up right now. It don't say. I don't think it's.
I need to know. I low-key need to know. I don't think he actually went to college, and if he did,
it don't say nothing about
his whole rhyming scheme.
He was Vernon High School.
Blueface.
I don't see no college.
You don't hear it either, so that makes sense.
Arleta College. It says education. Arleta High is where he went to high school.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, this is a whole
graduated.
For another
Did he graduate?
High school. I think he graduated high school.
Are we sure?
All right.
Blueface. Okay, I'm gonna look up his real name. I'm gonna look up his real name with football. So he did play football in high school because he has a highlight reel, but I don't think he went to college. So he played high school football, and he graduated high school in 2015. He was nationally ranked 4,137th best athlete, and 317th best athlete in high school. But he was a quarterback. So
all right. Well, on that note,
there we go.
Jack, take it away.
Wait, where's my song?
I thought we were doing the other thing first, but I can do the song.
Okay, no.
Wait, did Jack?
Well, yeah, do.
Oh, okay.
Do the song now.
Jackie wants her song. Jackie wants her song.
Okay. What we not gonna do.
You can't be giving me songs and then be like, nah, do that. I want my song. All right, guys, I only have one what we not gonna do moment today because we're doing something else. So before I get to that one moment, I just want to remind everyone that we are still taking donations to support the Equal Justice Initiative. The Equal Justice Initiative is an incredible nonprofit organization that provides legal representation to prisoners who may have been wrongfully convicted of crimes, poor prisoners without effective representation, and others who may have been denied a fair trial. Donating is really easy. You can do it via super chat right now. And usually we tell you about someone who has spent a significant amount of time in prison because of a wrongful conviction. But earlier we had a unique opportunity to speak with someone who truly embodies the spirit of the Equal Justice Initiative and is pushing for social change. We want you to hear that right now. Take a look. All right, you guys, it's been a while since we had a guest on the show, and I can tell you the Fumble Squad is super excited about this one. Some of you guys are a little too young to remember, but our next guest has 4 All-Star nods, and he won the 2004 NBA Finals with the Detroit Pistons. He's here to talk to us about EJI and some of his personal experiences pushing for social change. I am so honored. We are also honored to have Rasheed Wallace here with us on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, forgive my ear-to-ear smile. I really am excited that you're here. So how's the quarantine going for you?
Pretty good. No complaints. I'm taking advantage of the family time. My daughter, my son, and, here and there, other family members pop in and out. So just taking advantage of it.
I love it. All right. So, you've been involved in the Flint, Michigan situation, and 6 years later, they still don't have a clean water system. How are you helping with that?
Well, myself and all my friends and family, we're gathering arms and we're just going up there on a muscle. We can't sit back and wait for the government or all the political people to cross the T's and dot the I's while people still need daily necessities. Just think about it. And I want you to think about this, and I want your listeners and viewers to think about this. For the last 6 or 7 years, right? Think about how much you use water with drinking, waking up every morning, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Could be just in the middle of the day. Oh, my face feels gritty. I want to wash my face. You got to wash the baby. Oh, the baby might have threw up. Now I got to wash the baby off, put the baby in the sink or the tub. They can't do that. The everyday things that we do or I guess we don't think about, they can't do that. They have to live with bottled water. They have to live with, jug water, gallon water and everything like that. So it's hard. And to try to raise a family and in that situation like that, it's unacceptable, especially here in America. This is supposed to be the best state the best country in the world. And you have a third world country systematically in Flint. So come on. And the thing about it, I want to let everybody know too, it's not just black people. You got black people, white people, Chinese. They're all affected by the areas, the red lines or the red tape, whichever one you want to call it. They're all affected in that area. It's not a matter of giving your money. No, give your money in a little bit of time.
Yeah, as Black people, I know we all have known somebody who's experienced something. Do you know anyone who's experienced any injustices as far as, personally, maybe having some legal issues that were strictly based on their color? Do you know anyone like that?
Oh, definitely. I know guys back home in Philadelphia who were set up by, dirty cops, who had to do a couple years in jail. Some guys fought it and actually won. So I know quite a few who had some injustices done to them as well.
Mm-hmm. So most people will assume because you've had this great career, you played in the NBA, they'll assume that you haven't experienced racism because you're not like the rest of us. You make a little bit more money than the rest of us. You live a different lifestyle than the rest of us. What would you say to people who think like that?
Well, that's on them. They could think that all they want, but I've definitely experienced it. Just traveling the world, and you have people who aren't sensitive to certain racial issues, to just, hey, like water on this everyday thing. But being over in certain countries, yeah, I got called the N word and this and that because I wouldn't take a picture or I wouldn't sign an autograph. But to me, it was family time. At the time, I was with my family, or when I was married, I was with my wife. So I seen that as their time, because I was gone playing for at least 8, 9 months out of the year, with us always playing at least until late May and going into June. So I've dealt with a lot of racial issues. I dealt with some racial issues when I was at North Carolina, when I was in college down there. So I mean, it's all on how you take it. You can do one or two things about it. Of course, we all know that the way that we can handle it and to end all is to be volatile. Start a fight or some other things like that. But it takes a little bit extra maturity to think it through and try to better yourself in a situation of negativity and ignorance.
Yeah, and we're definitely in the climate where more people are speaking out. I'm a diehard LeBron fan, and I think he's kind of led the charge in being the one to say it's bigger than basketball and things of that nature. But sometimes I do get frustrated because I feel like people expect him to speak on everything and they expect him to put his dollar on everything to save everybody. Do you think that sometimes we, expect too much from you athletes and these entertainers to really kind of speak for us and kind of move the needle? Or do you think that since to whom much is given, much is required?
Kind of sort of both. Kind of sort of both. I feel for LBJ. He can't just have a normal day to himself. What if that man want to go out and take a walk in the park with him and the kids? He can't do that. You got to have mass security with him. Everything of that nature, and that's sort of that what I call that Michael Jordan syndrome, where you're the all-star of the all-stars, and you can't have a normal life like that. But it's somewhat of a pecking order because you have some guys who play in the NBA and they're known, but they're not as famous as felt, and still to this day feel like I'm an everyday person. I go wash my own dishes. I go to the grocery store. I take my own trash out and all of that stuff. So I feel like I'm a everyday person. I don't with me playing in the NBA and the Most High blessing me with the things that I have, I don't put myself above no one else. So dealing with that with me personally, yes, there are a lot of people who look at me like, all right, look, you're the one that can help this change. You're the one that can become this voice or this positive being to push this certain situation. And, depending on what it is, we all take our jab and things that everyone supports their own quote unquote charity. So if it's something that I feel as though that's up my alley, where hey, look, it calls for me to be out there and to have the just right of our brothers and sisters. Look, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna do my part. That's what I tell my kids. Look, do your part. You do your part, then things will go on.
Do you think that we are really moving into a new place as a country, or is this the perfect storm? It's just a pandemic. People are trapped at home. Do you think we're actually moving forward to change?
I pray we are. I pray that we are, for the sake of not only you and I, but for the sake of our children. I pray that we are, because the youth, this is what type of examples are we setting on both ends?
Right.
For the black movement, for even those who are racist, what type of thing are you setting for example are you setting for your kids here? Either way, the youth is the movement.
So if the movement does die down, what do you think you and I and everyone else, what can we do to make sure it keeps moving forward and we keep moving towards change?
We have to, one, educate each other, two, educate our youth. Stay positive. Because if, just imagine, can you imagine what this would be like if we act like all of those out there would hate? If we start shooting back, if we start killing, other minority youths back, then, this world would be an apocalypse. It'll be a modern day apocalypse. So I think for us to make this change, it's everybody. It's in your neighborhood. It's in your community where you live at. It's the youth. Show that positivity to the youth. They feed off. They're kids. They see what you do and they feed off of that.
I think that's why, things like the Equal Justice Initiative are so important. Even though I would love to say no one will ever be wrongly convicted again ever in life, I think we know that's not the reality. Why do you think it's so important to get involved with nonprofit organizations like the Equal Justice Initiative?
Well, because the areas that need the help, they can't afford to hire these big companies and big organizations to try to make life better for them. We have to have a lot of people who live in these communities. I think if you had, just imagine if we had some of these governors, some of these senators out here living in the same communities that are going through these struggles. I bet you it would be a lot different then, wouldn't it? So, it's all on that perspective. Look, just because you're not in that area don't mean that you can't help. Don't mean that you can't help make that change. To be in the positive, to be in the guiding light.
Now, we do have a slightly younger demographic on the Fumble. So as they're seeing all these things unfold before them, if you could give them with one final thought, one piece of advice, what would you give them?
Strong. You guys are strong. With this youth, with this movement, with this action, not only are you seeing it, but it's action and that's a positive thing. And I just want to say, young brothers and sisters, keep it going.
Once again, you guys in the chat, if you want to learn more about the Equal Justice Initiative, you can visit their website, eji.org. If you want to be a part of the movement, there's a donation link anywhere around you. You can also do a super chat. Make sure you do that. Thank you again, Rasheed Wallace, so much for joining us and helping to really motivate us to stay on the right track and pushing this needle for social change. Good times, you guys. So make sure you guys donate, do a super chat. It was really a pleasure to interview Rasheed Wallace. He's optimistic like Britt, so I was excited about that. I am still the one that's kind of on the fence, but make sure you donate so we can help people out there who need help. But now let me get into this, what we're not going to do, because if you ask anyone, especially me, now that I'm trying to get my fitness back on, working out with a mask is pure, unadulterated hell. I don't recommend it at all. In fact, I went to find someplace that also doesn't agree with it. The World Health Organization released guidance on June 16th that says people should not wear face masks while exercising because it could reduce your ability to breathe comfortably, and says the best way to work out is just to practice social distancing. So with that said, I'm not really surprised that JJ Watt has said that he has no interest in playing if the league makes him wear a face mask. He says he thought about wearing a visor at one point. He thought it looked cool, but he ended up taking it off because he said he almost died. He said, quote, "So now you want to put something around my mouth? No, you can keep that. If that comes into play, I don't think we're going to see me out there on the field." So I two things. We've heard people say this before. We've heard NBA players say that they're not going to play in the bubble, and most of them are actually playing in the bubble. So I don't know if I can really take this, factually, but I will say this: it does reduce your ability to breathe. And if we have a bunch of football players running around and can barely breathe, I think that might cause injury, it might cause fatigue, and it might just, in general, mess up the game. So, Chris, I want to go to you really quick. Do you think these masks are do you think that's going to hinder people's level of play? Because they are hard to breathe in. I know the NFL is looking into several different type of masks, but every mask that I've seen that could actually be easy for them to breathe through requires training. Like you have to train to actually be able to use these masks. And now we know that camps are reduced, so they're not going to have time to really get used to these masks. So is this just the NFL trying to look like they're being safe, or do they genuinely think that this is going to help?
I said it before. I really think that it would help, and I really feel like they will still be able to find that type of mask that would help them at least to play with. Because like I've said before, there are workouts where they do have masks to help with their stamina when they're doing a lot of exercise and stuff like that. So here, JJ Watt says I was a little confused because I feel like he's one of those guys. He's definitely by his size, he's definitely one that lives in the gym. And I'm sure that they still have to find that medium to get that for the players. But I really feel like it's something that would be very vital because, I mean, that's one of the few things that they could probably control when they're on the field with everything that they're going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a lot of contact. As we talk about a lot on this show, I feel like that's one of the few things that they could possibly control. And I still think that they can find one that will work for the players. But just hearing JJ Watt speak on it makes you feel like they have not found that mask yet because like you said, hard to work out in, and JJ Watt is sharing that same sentiment. So we'll see what happens. I still feel like it's something that can be done, but we'll see.
I just don't think it's going to ultimately work because we've talked about all the fluids that they're going to exchange on the field anyway. Britt has mentioned often that some of these guys pee on themselves, and then you're tackling and you're touching them. And we've seen, just watch the sideline, they go right over to the sideline and their hands are in their face anyway. So
masks off.
I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's unless you're just going to make them keep their helmets on 100% of the time, even when they're on the sideline, which
that'll be rough. That would be rough.
Yeah.
If that's the case, for sure.
I just don't see this working, but we'll see. We'll see. So now, it's the good one. This is going to be the good one.
Oh, we're back. Oh, don't do that. Too much pressure. All right.
Yeah, okay. So pressure. But it is time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes.
A single tear. I just feel like wow. Nostalgic moment of that is just beautiful. Speaking of nostalgia, I'm gonna kind of circle back to something I talked about months and months ago because I tried to warn somebody. We all tried to warn somebody. They didn't want to listen. That's my boy Zion Williamson. So a few months ago, and this dates all the way actually back to summer of 2019 because this is when this whole crazy thing started, when his marketing agent lady Gina Ford decided to sue him because he breached the contract. So originally last year they were trying to settle out of court and figure something out, but Zion didn't want to do that. So now we are at this moment right now. And yesterday, a new affidavit was just released saying that Zion Williamson's stepfather, Lee Anderson, is accused of accepting $400,000 in October of 2018, which would have made Zion ineligible to compete at Duke. So I know you guys remember other parts of the lawsuit. Basically, it talked about houses that Duke provided for Zion's family and a place for Zion to live and stuff and all of that kind of stuff during his time at Duke. And then money that was received. But this one apparently has some receipts to it. Now, first I'm going to read just something from the legal document. So basically it says that it was further my understanding that to secure the verbal commitment from Lee Anderson, acting on behalf of Zion Williamson and the Williamson family, to have Zion sign with MMG, Lee Anderson had demanded and Dirk paid some $400,000 to Lee Anderson and Chubby Wells. Now, I told you Lee Anderson is Zion's stepfather, and then the Dirk person that they are referring to is actually the president of Maximum Management Group, which is known as MMG. And they apparently have, Gina Ford and her crew apparently have receipts of this transaction actually happening. So, Leo, if you want to throw that image that I sent, no, that I already just read. Do we have the image? I might have accidentally not put it in there. But okay. Well, anyways, you guys can look it up online. You guys all have computers or the internet. So go look up the documents. It's basically like a letter of declaration, and it is Zion's driver's license. So apparently Lee Anderson signed the papers, Zion signed the papers, and then to confirm it when they were sending it over, they had to also include a photocopy of Zion's driver's license. So apparently Zion's people are saying that the letter of declaration as well as the ID are false. They're like fraudulent ones that they just made up. I looked at the ID myself. It looks pretty real to me. It's a South Carolina ID, driver's license, and it has all of his information and whatever. Obviously, they crossed out like the address and stuff, but it looks like a real ID to me. I don't know. The signatures are on the letter of declaration, and I don't think that they would actually present that if it was fraudulent information, because I'm sure the court can use experts to detect if that was a actual signature or to show if that was a real driver's license or whatever the case. So I think, okay, so originally I was just like, okay, this is just another thing added, and now it's receipts, and we are always asking for receipts. Like nothing means anything unless you have receipts, and they have receipts now. But I was really thinking about it, and I'm just like, well, what does this like actually mean for Zion? Like obviously, like I said before, I think Zion should have settled out of court a long time ago, because now all of this new stuff is happening, and Zion just entered into the bubble, and he's trying to, make a way for his team to make it to the playoffs as that 8th seed. And now he has all this legal stuff going on too. So obviously this is not a good time for it to happen. Obviously this is why Gina Ford and her people did that. They're not stupid. They know that sending this information out and putting this affidavit in now only is going to get in his head while he's trying to, make it to the playoffs and be in this NBA bubble and stuff like that. So hopefully they're thinking that he's just going to be like, fine, I'm just going to settle with you guys because I don't want to deal with this while I'm trying to focus on getting a playoff spot. So I get that. But other than that, say this goes all the way, what does this actually mean for Zion? Well, as far as getting in trouble would be concerned, nothing's going to happen. Like, let's all remember the Reggie Bush case. What happened? Yes, Reggie Bush was not allowed to have anything to do with USC for 10 years. And yes, Reggie Bush had to lose his Heisman and their, championship stuff from that season. And USC had to deal with not being able to recruit or losing a bunch of scholarships and all of that kind of stuff. But Reggie Bush ended up having a pretty successful NFL career. He didn't really actually get punished besides the fact that he couldn't go to a USC game and had to lose his Heisman. Like, that's not that big of a deal. Duke didn't do anything during March Madness that year anyway, and Zion didn't really win anything. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing that Zion wants so bad that is going to be taken away from him that he really cares about. The only people that are going to suffer in this is Duke University, because since this money was given in October of 2018, that was before his season, and that would have made him ineligible to play in the NCAA. Like, other than that, like, he's not really going to suffer. Obviously, this is just little pieces that are leading up to the end thing, which is everything that he signed prior to that made him ineligible, and that is going to then create, those are all now invalid, and then now it's going to create the fact that Gina Ford and her company deserve whatever chunk of money that they're supposed to get, because that was signed and done after he left Duke. So that's the only thing that like even is bringing relevance to like her getting her money. But as far as like all of this that's negatively happening to Duke, which obviously clearly Zion doesn't care about, because he would have settled this a long time ago when all of this stuff that Gina Ford said was being threatened to him. He doesn't care to have anything to do with Duke moving forward. But like, it's literally going to affect Duke. I'm happy about it because I'm a UNC fan, so I would love nothing more than Duke to not be able to compete, especially because we are both in the ACC, and that is literally our top competition every single year is Duke. So I personally would love it as a fan of UNC, but I don't know. I don't see that this actually negatively affects Zion Williamson in the long run. So my question is going to be for you, Chris, really quickly here. Should Zion just settle? And what do you think is Gina's actual point of doing this? Do you think it's just to tear down his moment right now and being in the playoffs and whatever, and to trying to get into his head? Because all of this stuff doesn't actually personally affect him as much as it would affect Duke. But her goal in her lawsuit is to get money. So what's the correlation here? Why do you think she's doing all of this?
Well, to answer the first question, I think, like you said, if this was going to be handled, if Zion was going to do something about it, he would have done it a long time ago. And I think since we've come to the end game at this point, I don't think he's going to do anything at this point. As far as the reason why Gina's going, that's a good question, because this is not going to affect Zion. Maybe for her to, show that, that to help her with future clients, to show that it wasn't me, I didn't do it. I'm sure. But other than that, I don't see what else he's really going to gain from it, because Zion this is a big deal, and we're barely hearing much about it even in the first place. And Zion's gonna, it's gonna happen. The worst case scenario, sure, he might not be able to, rep Duke like he does now, time to time, or even go back to the campus and blah blah blah. But that's not going to affect Zion Williamson, the player and the star that people are all expecting him to be. So I think the only reason why this is being pushed so hard is more for her credibility, more than to even get anything out of Zion at this point.
Do you think that this going on right now during the bubble is going to negatively affect Zion, or do you think he doesn't even care?
No, I don't think so at all. Not even the slightest. I don't think so. Unfortunately for Gina, I don't think so.
That's Zion, just pay this woman her money, or don't, because actually I want Duke to get in trouble, so that's fine. I'm fine with all this. That's Britt's take. Right. I'm fine with that. Keep everything as is.
Thank you so much, Britt. Jackie, also thanks for that incredible interview that you did. You killed it. Chris, we are so glad to have you back on the show. All right, you guys, that wraps up the Fumble Live. We are going to be back again on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Of course, make sure you tune in to the weekend on tomorrow. And have a great weekend. Stay safe, wear a mask, be a nice person, and wash your hands. Bye, guys.
Ooh, yeah. Got it this time.
No, we didn't have the actual Fumble ending on that.
Right?
There we go.